We were in like the right field 100 level section. You can't just be skipping all around on a weekend game. If it was a weekday thing, afternoon, bunch of empty seats, all right, go ahead. We just see these empty seats there and I had to go and kick them out. I'm like, hey, guy, you're in my seat. There were like two of them. I'm like, hey, guys, you're in my row of seats I got here. Like, man, you're pretty late to the game. I don't care. I don't care if I never show up to this game. You should not be in my seat. You have your own ticket. And if I could, I don't want to say I would arrest these people, but I would give them some sort of citation, some sort of penalty for not being in their own seats. 3, 2, 1. Hello, welcome to another episode of the Pretty Huge Download Podcast. Today, we're going to be going over my recent trip that I had. So please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, reach out, DM, all of the above, any of the above, to help this podcast grow. So today, doing a lot of recording. Got to catch up on recording a couple things, recording PhD TV. We'll see if we do any reviews today and reviewing the podcast because this weekend I had a big trip to the Denver area. In this podcast, it'll be more trip chronicling than the other dilemmas I have because surprisingly along the way there were some dilemmas that I have. Got to kick my shoes off, got to be comfortable here and make sure that I'm recording. So we're good for that. Just going to chronicle that, some dilemmas along the way that I had dealt with, ignored, tried to figure out solutions for, and we'll get through all of them. But first thing, and I'll just go and try to be in chronological order. So flying, I think I switched what kind of superpower I want. Before, the obvious answer, always teleportation. You can put a limit on it. Even if there's a limit, teleportation has been my number one. But I think I'm going to switch my response to the ability to sleep through an entire flight. That might be a superpower. And it also might be a superpower that's more attainable. People take pills and other substances to have that happen. I'm not going to do that. But if I had the choice, if I was given any superpower I wanted, just ability to get through a flight. I try sometimes to be productive, try to read, listen to music, catch up on podcasts. I am able to watch new movies sometimes. So the first flight, I think I watched some of Zootopia 2, which I don't know what streaming service the airlines are subscribed to. That might be the best one to subscribe to. They got new movies, old movies, and it's continually rotating. They don't have the most. They have a number of them. And I also watched 15 minutes of The Paper, which it was all right. Maybe if I was able to watch the rest of it, I would get more into it. It was okay. There were some funny things for it. Watch Zootopia 2. If I was able to sleep, I think that would be nice to also catch up on sleep because you might have had to have a 5:40 a.m. flight or something like that. But sleeping on planes might be the new superpower I want for it. Also left, being a homeowner, which has been chronicled on this podcast, there was the male urge to turn off the water to my house just when I'm gone for a couple days. It was up there. I thought about it. I was like, all the toilets are shut off, all the sinks are off, sprinklers are on their automated settings, but I might still need to turn off this water just in case there's some leak, some toilet didn't flush correctly, the bobber in the tank didn't catch correctly, just in case. Just turn off the entire water. Better safe than sorry. No one needs this water. I could just turn it off. In the future, maybe. I don't think I did for this trip. We got there, got to Denver, flew in Denver, which, I don't know, not too far a flight from where we're at, pretty quick for it. Got a rental car because we were going to be driving all over, the people I was with, all over the place, going to different parks, games, shows, things like that. So we needed a car. And I know going into it, there was going to be an issue. I prepaid everything, got the 4-wheel drive terrain. I don't know what the terrain's going to be like. Is it going to be paved, unpaved? It's a lot faster for me to drive to the top of the mountain than it would be for me to walk it. So I need all the wheel drive. So I had that, prepaid it, get to the counter, and I knew this would happen. Lady goes, no debit cards, only credit cards. I already paid for it. what's the point of the credit card? Because I don't know why they need it, whatever reason. For everything else, it's been kind of a transition over to accepting credit and debit cards, hotels. I don't even know what other things you need credit versus debit cards for, different flight things. But it's like pretty easy to use debit cards for everything except rental cars. Even for rental cars, they still accept it. Some of them it's easier than others. There's usually extra process to go through. So I went to the lady, said, "Here's my debit card. You need a $200 deposit, whatever. Doesn't matter." She goes, "We need a credit card." Tell her straight up, "Don't have one. I need this rental car. Why can't I get this car? I already paid for it. You want whoever owns this credit card?" They probably think there's some backing of the credit card company. Like my limits, even if I have a debit card, it would have a limit of 1,000. And do you think that the having the backing of Visa will be more acceptable of $1,000 debit card limit than what it would be just with my regular debit card? It was a hassle. I sat there. She kept asking, "Do you have a debit? Do you have a credit card? Do you have a credit card?" No, I don't. I only have a debit card. Give me. I need this car. I said, "I can't do that." I said, "Okay, well, this ended where I thought it would be. Let me talk to someone else, your manager, someone like that." She calls him over. The guy's like, "We can't necessarily do this. We get you a minivan." Like, who do you see driving to the top of a mountain in a minivan? In a minivan, you don't see them driving all the way up. You see them recording people watching TV with a bunch of kids in there. Well, I guess I took the minivan. It was big enough size, easy enough to get around, which I think I just overpaid for renting a minivan then. Kind of dumb, kind of a hassle. And she just had to go through extra steps for it. It was dumb. I don't like it, renting it, but we needed it because of places we went that you'll see having an Uber would just be too difficult and just end up costing more money than it would just be with the rental car. And there is some sort of metro train thing in Denver. Didn't end up doing that for it. Okay, let's see, just marking thing off. Okay, got for that, and then that night, well, I don't know, different days, who knows? You'll be able to, we were there a number of days. So we went to the infamous Casa Bonita. I don't know if it's infamous or just famous. I don't know, because it's not like thought infamous was like might be a bad connotation, but the well-known Casa Bonita from South Park, I wouldn't recommend going to it. I heard recently they renovated it. It just looked like a kid's place with a lot of gimmicky type things. It was okay. The food wasn't very good. It was basic Mexican food. It had like 6 dishes you could choose from. Not very good. Topapillas, those were bad. It was just fried dough with barely any like caramel sauce on it. Not good. They had a bunch of shows and stuff you could do, which was kind of tailored for kids. They had some sorcerer guy go in, do some tricks and stuff. It was pretty easy to see what was going on, what was going to happen. Not too crazy what was happening for that. They had some cliff jumpers. Those people are just ex-college divers who just live in Denver and want to ski. So now they just dive pretty much. And the cliff isn't even that high. I couldn't do the dives they were doing. I'd jump off of it. It wasn't that high. Even the ones where you go to college competitions and you see like the high diving, they weren't even that high. It was difficult what they were doing. Yeah, they were doing like handstands into flips. It wasn't anything crazy. It was like there's hundreds of people in college diving who can do this. I don't know what's the point of having it here because it's in a restaurant. Yeah, that's different. They had like kids game room, some kids haunted place. Wasn't haunted, wasn't scary. Do they have anything else? They had face painting, but face painting, there's too long of line, didn't get anything. Thought about asking a lady for a Mike Tyson tattoo on my face. That didn't end up happening for it. It was okay. It was overpriced. The amount we paid for it wasn't really worth it. So yeah, it's cool. If you're super into South Park, you might like it. But even then, it's just bad Mexican food. Some gimmicky stuff. And there's only like one South Park thing, which picture there's only one real reference to it. There was some museum, I guess, where the creators of South Park discussed it or were shown in a picture. Besides that, it wasn't very good. The part of town it was in, not the best. Didn't want to be there that long. I didn't get a picture of the outside of it. It's just a pink color thing in a strip mall right next to a dental office and eye doctor's place, a Dollar Tree, and stuff like that. So it wasn't the best. I really didn't like it that much. So just an FYI, if you're going to Denver, this is what we did. What was worth it? What wasn't worth it? I also ended up going to, I don't know, on the list, bonfire burrito, breakfast burritos. I don't know what like the range is. They're all kind of similar. They're all just eggs, cheese, some type kind of potatoes, some sort of sausage, bacon type thing. It's nothing mind blowing. The size of it was a little bigger, but it wasn't anything mind blowing burritos. I know Austin, they're like more known for breakfast tacos, I think. I don't get it. I don't know what the big deal is with the breakfast tacos or the big range of them. What's going on there? Bonfire burrito. And they didn't have like really iced drinks there. There have been a couple places we've gone to. They just don't have iced drinks. They have drip coffee. They just have a number of espresso things. They have, and the closest thing I get is just getting Americanos places. That's just coffee and water. And that just cools it down. Because I don't get lattes because the dairy part of it, it gets rid of some of the different antioxidant benefits, which I might just end up getting those. Anyway, and also like those kind of a bunch of added sugar stuff in it, depending on what kind of flavoring it is. But I didn't get why these places don't have just like an iced drink, an iced coffee type things. I honestly don't know how to make iced coffees. I think you just make the coffee and then you like cool down. I don't know how fast you cool it down. So I just feel like I'm getting day old coffee whenever I order iced coffees. Cold brews, I understand how those work because you put it in a cold water and put it in your fridge for a longer period of time. But I don't really get that. Yeah, this is just chronicling things. The dilemmas, there's a plenty of them coming. I don't know, they get around. But Denver, man, it's a nice place. There are a lot of cool things to do, but man, something about the altitude just makes it tough. Every time I go there, my lips get chapped, my hands get dry, my skin dries out, and I feel dehydrated and have a headache for a majority of the time. So, like I said, there's fun things to go to, things to do. Man, the altitude is just tough. It makes it more work of a vacation than other places, just because of the altitude. Other places have hikes and stuff like that. You're only at the altitude when you hike up them, but Denver is just constant. Like, man, like coming here, fun things to do. Would not live there. It would be cool to live there maybe 6 months out of the year during the summer months where there's a bunch of hikes and stuff to do. But the cold winter months, man, it takes so long places, and you really can never get up to speed on the highways. It's always 50 miles an hour, and then you're making U-turns. You're constantly turning to get through the mountains. And some of the places we went, the snow was still built up. You could see how deep the snow gets. Like, man, I would not survive if the snow was getting this big. And people living there, I just assume they're constantly just living off bottled water and canned goods. Because you can't go to the store regularly. I saw one Walmart, saw maybe one Amazon truck. So you're just constantly going to stores, storing up for at least 1 week of just canned foods and stuff like that. You're not going to the store on a regular basis. You're not going after work, making a stop. In the winter, you're barely ever leaving your house. Things like that. Then we hung out, went to Golden. Golden's a cool place. The parking, man. Tried to find some free street parking, couldn't. There was a parking lot. It's like, okay, there's a parking lot that you pay for, but let's keep driving around so you can find something that's free. And I saw a sign that said how much the parking was. It said $5. Well, me coming from the big city, $5 for parking? I didn't even want to look it around anymore. I wish we would have just gone straight to that parking lot. $5? Such a deal for parking. And it wasn't $5 an hour, $5 for the first 30 minutes. It was just $5. You can park there as long as you want. That was pretty sweet to go through. The Golden was cool. We just went through the downtown area, cool little places. Tried to find somewhere to eat. Stopped in a place called like the Tavern, I think. Like, oh, this is like a food and bar type place. Went there, smelled like beer, brought me back, almost relapsed. Then we kept looking at these other tables. And it was just like the afternoon time. Thought there'd be some people eating. there was just no food served there. Some of the locals were like, "Oh, you want some food? You can microwave up some hot dogs for you." Like, no. And the other places they suggested places outside that bar area. So unfortunately, couldn't do that. Didn't get any billiards played there. But what else? They had like some cool like wood carving type bears that you could see, which I don't know, we'll see if we get one here. And they also had like the built-in price of if you wanted to get chipped. That was pretty cool to see that. Man, I'm flying through this stuff. Golden. Then the big event, we went to go see a concert at Red Rocks. We went and saw Two Friends, which talking to people I work with, other friends were like, "Oh, I'm going to see these DJs called Two Friends." I don't think anyone I told knew who they were. Not a single one. It's also kind of hard to describe because I guess I don't even know if they're EDM. I wouldn't describe them as EDM. I would just describe them as like playing the favorite parts of your favorite songs and having a bunch of strobe lights and beat drops. If that's EDM, okay, that's cool. That's fun to see. Got to Red Rocks. Parking at Red Rocks was free for it. That was sweet. It was all general admission for it, unless you got like the VIP right next to the stage. But general admission, I don't know. We wanted to get there somewhat early, so that way we could not sit in the back and be somewhat close and in the middle of the row. See here, the concert. I don't know, man. Between Nickelback, Hardy, and Two Friends, it's tough. It's tough to decide which one's my favorite between those. Because Two Friends, yeah, I knew a lot of those songs too. The environment, everyone, the place looked sold out. Everyone in there was like jumping around, cheering at the same time. And the fans there, they're also very nice to each other. And also, Red Rocks, you have your seat and people can walk in front of you and you don't have to stand up to let them walk through. Like, there's not a lot of like squeezing through. It's pretty easy for that. So that adds to the venue for it. And seeing all the people at the different venues, hard to pick between them. There, it started out, I mean, it was different. At first, what they did, they had a DJ set right in the center of the stands. And they just played, I guess, their old hits for it, which I don't know what their old hits are. I don't know if they have original songs. They just play like an old like remix that they had. It was like the main people who came to see just started playing at 7 o'clock to warm up the crowd. That was pretty crazy to see. Some of the other times, you see the main guy, you know he'll come on a couple hours after the opening, so you're not getting there early. And the openers, you don't really want to see. But for this, man, good thing we got there on time, or else we would have missed that. We would have missed that huge part of it. And even at that early time, everyone was into it that time. And when the other opening people came out, they were also like EDM DJ people, which, man, this concert was long. It was like 5 hours long. No, how long was it? 4.5 hours. Like overall, from when it started to when it ended, it's like 4.5 hours long. And man, I don't know how many more 4.5 concerts I have in me during like the Two Friends opening remix thing. Yeah, okay, it's up for that. Then the first opener, he had the momentum of that, and some people like were cheering for that. But then the second opener, they were, I don't know how much cheering or added fans they got, because by the time they came on, everyone was kind of tired and thinking, okay, I'm not gonna stay on my feet, do a bunch of this dancing because we got this big ending set to do. Man, it was really cool to see. Try to take I did something I haven't done before, and I'm not the biggest fan of. I took some videos at the concerts. I don't really like doing that, and I don't know why I did. I guess the beat drops got to me. But I tried videotaping them, saw them, was like, man, catching these lights on my video camera, you just can't really see anything. Then in the background of them, I'm singing in them. Not good. That is not a good video. I kind of forgot, if you're going to take a video, to not sing in the background, because it doesn't ruin it, but you just hear a lot more of your voice because you're right next to the microphone than other things that are going on for it. It was cool to see them. I wasn't familiar with Two Friends' game. I didn't know who their group was. They had some saxophone guy named Casey. Sick. He just comes out every once in a while to play like a bunch of saxophone stuff. They just keep him tucked away. And every like 5 to 10 minutes, like Casey, and he just comes out, just rips it, and then leaves. And they also had a violin lady, which, man, she could dance, she could play the violin, also sick. They didn't come out. I don't think there was a time where they came out at the same time when we're performing. Maybe that's their next thing for it. But evidently they play at Red Rocks like every year, and they just plan on coming back repeatedly. So I don't know if I'll be going back to it. We'll see. There are other places I want to go to before I start repeating places. And also, like I said, Denver, it just gets the best of some people. The height, the elevation sickness, going through the hikes, the dehydration. It's not an easy, relaxed place, and kind of always have like a slight headache the entire time. It was tough for it. But man, going to Red Rocks, I've been there before, not for a concert, but for a concert, man, they just had a bunch of lights. Everyone was into it. There were times I would just turn around, look at the back, and it was just everyone on their feet cheering the entire time for it. It was really cool to see that. Like I said, 4 5 hour concert. I don't know how many of those I got left in my bag for it. Then what else we do? We ended up going to a couple parks. We went to Rocky Mountain National Park. That was a drive. It's like how far away? 2 hours away. It was fine. 2 hours away, but man, they got to improve their parking game. It was packed there, which I guess was the off season. You didn't need to have a reservation for it. But reservations would have been nice because it was just packed. Pretty much just one parking lot. And no one knew where to park because you couldn't tell if there was an open spot or not. They didn't have a count of like a sign on the entrance to it of this many open spots. You just drove up there. And if you didn't see one like in your direct view, you would just sit there until someone else in that area left. What I ended up doing is sending a couple of my passengers saying, hey, go out there, find me a spot, lay down in it, and just direct people out of the way so that way I can park faster and get this thing moving. And then once I park, we'll go have a good time because we're just sitting here and this line is just going to keep getting longer. I don't imagine it getting shorter. But eventually we were able to park, got next to the area. There were a couple lakes there, and then we crashed a proposal that happened there. Some guy proposed to his girlfriend. We saw them on the trail. They passed us. The guy was like huffing and puffing. So like, I don't know how this guy's so tired. We haven't even gone up any hills, and he's just breathing as hard as he can, which kind of makes sense now why he was breathing so hard. Because I guess he was nervous, and they didn't have a camera person. I thought looking around there would be a camera person telling us to get out of the way, that we're in his shot or something. Ended up not happening, and we ended up being the photographers for it. And afterwards, like, hey, we saw this proposal, we heard the guy crying. Gross. Why is the guy crying? Then we ended up sending the pictures to them. Now we're just waiting on the save the date to get from them. Hopefully it's not too soon because, like I said, there are other places I need to go to before Denver. But I might go back at some point. For a wedding, that would be all right for it. Wedding where just don't know anyone and only met the bride and the groom when the guy was proposing to her. So that's pretty cool to see. We'll see. Let me add in a couple pictures of my outfits. Ha 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 ha. That's some outfit choice you have there. No, I had to make sure that the sun did not get me. Not the best in the sun, so yeah. I'd have the mineral-based sunscreen and cover up legs, arms, neck, feet, eyes, all of that to make sure. And also the wildlife there. Didn't want to get caught in that. For the Rocky Mountains, there was still snow on the ground. That was a little bit of an issue, both going up and coming down. There were people with spikes on their shoes, definitely people more prepared for it. Then it was funny seeing other people, they would just grab sticks that were along the side of the trail and just use those. Like, you're not prepared. Just give up and turn around. We didn't get as far as we wanted and ended up having to turn around slightly earlier, but there was too much snow, too treacherous. Like, yeah, this is too early in the season for it. It wasn't too muddy. That was probably good. If it was muddier, maybe it would have been more slippy. Because if you slip in snow, then yeah, snow just brushes right off you. But mud, that sticks with you. And thankfully, someone in the group let me borrow their gloves. Those gloves were just covered in tree sap, still dirty, which that's what happens. When I had gloves on, I was like, my hands aren't getting sticky. So yeah, I'll hug this tree. I'll hold this pine tree and get this. I don't know. I guess pine trees have some sort of sap or syrup that comes off of them. I haven't heard of pine tree syrup, but there's some sort of sap that comes off of them, and that's all right. Okay. Big trip. Big trip. Yeah, then the main last thing, besides like the hiking, we didn't really go to any other food places. No, because like two friends, we ate at some bar area in Golden beforehand, which yeah, yes, you had to serve yourself your beers. It's one of the it was so dumb. It was so dumb doing that. I know people complain about tipping and people do it too much. Okay. At least tipping, for a lot of those instances, it's someone's there, someone's on the screen, someone's giving you some sort of service. Okay, cool. Well, direct service, they're giving you this drink, giving you this food, something. Okay. We went there and they didn't have any of that for their beers and stuff like that. And again, I didn't drink any of them. I was with, they were. And it was also different for their food type stuff. So you went there, they gave you a card. It pretty much was just a debit card that was connected to your card. They just go, okay, we need a debit card. Now it's connected to this card. Return it in one of these things at the end, and that's how you know you're done. And also, there's going to be I forget it. I don't know. I gotta look. I don't really want to look. There'll be a 2% or $2 service charge, and then automatic 18% gratuity. 18%. People are pouring their own beers here. They're walking up to the counter, ordering their own food. They're picking up their own food. Who's getting tipped in this situation? The guy who's standing 2 feet behind the beer taps, putting the glasses on the shelf. The food people, okay, yeah, tip them, whatever they're making your food. What? You're just doing this automatically. I don't get to choose. What if I wanted to tip more? Guess I can't do that. I don't know. I didn't see them have out tip jars when I went to order food. I guess that's not happening. Guess you're just getting the set amount here. It was dumb for it. I wish, which I've heard other places go and do that, or even self-serve things. There's an automatic tip gratuity that they have to put in, which yeah, I don't really enjoy that or the thought of that. Again, I know people are probably sick of tipping and what people do in different situations. But that was just sounded like a unique thing that I hadn't dealt with before, interacted with, but it's out there, so be prepared. And yeah, that was a dilemma I had. The last thing that I'll wrap up with is Rockies game that we went to. We went to the Rockies game, cool stadium. Didn't get the rock pile tickets. Got tickets that were in right field. And because of the time of the game, the seats, it was like 90 degrees in those seats because the sun was just right at it. So we were just walking around, hung out just at some of the standing areas for it. Got some Rocky Mountain oysters. Tune into one of the pretty huge reviews where I review Rocky Mountain oysters. And people were asking me if I actually knew what they were. Yeah, I know what they are. But they serve them here, so they're not inedible. There's another food that I might or might not like. So I'm going to try them out. And the place we went to eat, they didn't have them, so I'm going to try them here. I didn't get the cake donut, though. I saw that. I just couldn't pull the trigger on it. I saw it. Didn't want to wait in line for it. Which games? Man, pitch clocks are almost too fast now. Because we were hanging around. By the time, like, I got to take a lap around, or I just didn't get there early enough for the game. You got to take a lap around, see what the foods are, then Google what foods are popular there, go back there, see the menu, see how much it costs, and then get your food. Then you gotta get food later for a dessert type thing. So we ended up not going to our seats right away. We didn't get there to like the fifth or the sixth inning. But I went there. There are people sitting in the seats, which, yeah, I don't like that. If it was an empty stadium, not too many people there, we could easily have gone in a different row. Okay, fine, whatever. But it was a pretty filled up stadium, especially when you're in like the lower level sections. Because hey, we sprung for it. We were in like the right field 100 level section. You can't just be skipping all around on a weekend game. If it was a weekday thing, afternoon, bunch of empty seats, all right, go ahead. You just see these empty seats there, and I had to go and kick them out. I'm like, hey, guy, you're in my seat. There were like two of them. I'm like, hey, guys, you're in my row of seats I got here. Like, man, you're pretty late to the game. I don't care. I don't care if I never show up to this game. You should not be in my seat. You have your own ticket. And if I could, I don't want to say I would arrest these people, but I would give them some sort of citation, some sort of penalty for not being in their own seats. If you want to go stand up somewhere in seats that aren't reserved and it's just a free for all, first come, first serve, all for it. Go ahead. If you're in the 300 levels, I think maybe those seats should just be general admission. It's pick any seat you want here. For the 200 levels, some of them, maybe it's more sit where you want type things, but not like behind maybe it's like the corners by the flag poles or the foul poles, 200 levels. Those more free for all because behind the plate and in the outfield, now those pretty set. 100 levels, you have to be in your seat. Point blank. You can't be moving around, seeing, oh, there's an open seat. Let me go there. Because in an MLB game, there's never a point where, hey, it's a free for all. Because I went to the TCU baseball game, and after so many innings, they say, all right, if there's an open seat, fill it in the 100 levels. And then you just see people pour into the lower levels, which that makes sense because you want more people in the areas at a college game. If people are going to show up, they're going to show up after however many innings. But that's okay. For a professional game, weekend game, when people are paying their good money for this, you can't be in your ticket. Wish could have gone the usher. Hey, usher, ticket them, not sitting in their own seats, sitting in my seats. I don't care if I never show up to the game. You shouldn't be in the seats anyway. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a good idea. Citations. But then again, those usher people, they're not helping at all. They should be the ones stopping it. I thought everyone who goes in there, the usher's supposed to look, see their ticket, and go, yep, that's your ticket. Go ahead. They barely do anything. I know there are a bunch of retired people, don't really care, not doing too much, just supposed to stop any fight. Well, they're not stopping any fights. They're just getting someone else to stop fights if fights are happening. They're not stopping them. Yeah, she didn't stop anyone from sitting in my seats. That was unfortunate. But the games, I think they might be going too fast. Pitch clock, almost too fast. They need to slow it down a little bit. Kind of how the NCAA has 35 seconds, NBA has 24 seconds. I think it might need to be flipped. The NCAA's time is shorter than the MLB time. Because, things were just flying too quickly there. I couldn't get in a nice rhythm, watch it. It was just pitch after pitch, out after out. And by the time I got to my seats, things were going way too fast. I barely know what happened in it. Again, maybe that's just me, and maybe I should have gotten there sooner for it. Besides that, I think that was a decent chronicle of what was going on. Flights weren't too bad. Saw the cursed horse or something at the Denver airport. It was a lot more blue. I thought it was black. Maybe that's just at night. Saw the red eyes for it. Let me take a second. Did anything else happen? We went out to the bar. Tried to pack enough food so we didn't have to eat all the time. I had to go to Target. Bought waters that we didn't need. Didn't have my reverse osmosis water. Maybe that's why I was so dehydrated. I didn't have enough reverse osmosis on me. And it's been pounding it today. Oh, the other thing I want to say. When you take a trip, weekend trip, you have to take the first day off when you get back home from it. So this has to be mandatory, either by work or by the person. One of those two has to mandate. You go on this trip, you go out of town, the day you get back into town, can't show up to work for at least 24 hours. Which I would benefit both people, because work's always like, come to work to do work, don't be distracted. Because if you go to work the day after a multiple day trip, flying, connecting flights, different time zones, the day you come back, it doesn't matter what time you get back on, say, Sunday. If you get in 10 a.m. Monday, you're not ready for work. If you get back 9 p.m., you definitely can't work Monday. So there needs to be like a 24 hours in town before you can go back to work. And that's, again, benefiting both places. Because then the person, They can catch up on their laundry. They can do the groceries that they're missing out on. They can sleep in later and just get things done that they kind of had to skip out on because they were on travel, and also just mentally prepared for the work week because you're not mentally prepared Sunday. Usually have the Sunday scaries and those prepare you for the rest of the work week. But when you get back from the trip, you don't necessarily have those Sunday scaries. You got other stuff to do. And then also when you get back, yeah, you got yard work to do, obviously, because the grass is growing too fast. So, yeah, mandatory. Which I know people like having mandatory. It's my time off. If I want to go to work after my trip and not pay attention, have a tough job, fall asleep at the desk, okay, fine, cool. Not, hey, it took me a couple years to realize this and discussing with other people, and they're telling me, you get back, take that next day off. Even if you feel like you could go to work, it would be fine. Just don't. Just catch up on other things, watch some TV, just relax, get a couple walks in, things like that. And then the rest of the week is shorter, and you'll just feel better the rest of the week. And you won't feel you're constantly catching up. Because if you don't, then the next weekend, all the stuff you put off from last weekend is going to be catching back up to you. All of the appointments, all of the dishes, all the stuff. You're just constantly in a state of catching up. So just take 24-hour break and try again the next day to get into work and just get back in the rhythm after that. Yeah, I didn't want to forget that. Anything else I forgot, I'll discuss next week because that's the end of this Denver Chronicle trip. The Chronicle of the Denver trip summary, things like that. We'll see. We'll see what AI tells me a good title will be. But thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, reach out, watch the shorts, watch PhD TV, watch Pretty Huge Reviews, follow on Instagram, follow on X, all of that. Talk to you guys later. Bye.